Uranus has moved from Taurus to Gemini, and the question that disrupted our foundations for safety has just changed address. When Uranus was in Taurus, it disrupted everything we knew about our worth, our values, the structures that kept us safe in our comfort zones, and the conditions we placed around love and belonging. It asks us to answer the question, is this even mine? And now it's in Gemini for the next 7 years, rewiring the beliefs we hold in our minds and the words that come out of our mouths, changing the stories we tell ourselves. With the change energy shifting from earth to air, the quality of the question shifts with it. Is this even mine? Or is this noise disguised in the sound of my voice? Now, I'm an older millennial brought up in an Asian collectivist culture, which means I came from an era where we were conditioned to be obedient, to respect our elders and the established authority without question, to be seen and not heard. The words that came out of our elders' mouths were, don't speak unless you are spoken to. Do as you're told. Why? Because I said so. A child who is compliant is easier to manage. A child who has questions is inconvenient and often gets punished for it. So we learn to take on the beliefs of our elders, inherit the rhetoric of our families, religions, and culture, and take it as our own, without asking whether it was our truth, because we had nothing to compare it to. We were brought up to believe that if you studied hard, worked hard, got a degree, you would get a job, a house, a family, and that would be everything you needed and wanted. And then you would reach the position of authority and you get to decide on the rules. And then the internet arrived on dial-up in our adolescence, and we had access to information beyond anything our elders had ever given to us. We learned in time that the rules they had lived by did not apply to us in the same way anymore. Working hard does not guarantee success. A degree was not a shoo-in for a job, and having a family was not a reward in itself, not for the women who were told they could have it all and ended up doing it all alone, without a village to raise their children and burning out in the process. So we began to question everything we had been taught to know. But we also remembered that across generations, it was not always safe for women to speak up and advocate for ourselves. That using our voices in ways that did not sing from the same hymn sheet as everyone else came with a cost. You were branded and burnt as a witch, or at least got labeled as crazy, emotional, or hysterical. So we learned to keep quiet when our words were centered around ourselves. We learned it was safer to be dismissed, diminished, and to dim our light. With Uranus in Gemini, that is set to change. Uranus in Gemini gives us the opportunity to change the narrative, to rewrite our stories, to decide whether we are the heroines instead of being relegated as the supporting characters in everyone else's stories, to have the courage to speak our embodied truths, even when the rooms we enter are not yet ready to listen because our voices needed to be heard before the room learns to listen to our frequency. Uranus in Gemini accelerates the speed and volume of everything in the communication field, which means the noise in our feeds, our conversations, our minds will only get louder. And the most dangerous thing that can happen to a woman who spent her whole life not using her voice to speak her truth is that when she finally speaks, she cannot tell which voice is hers because she never knew what her voice actually sounds like. Is this even mine? Or is this noise disguised in the sound of my voice? There are 2 ways women get stuck when they use their voices. The first is silence. She's still evolving, finding her way through what she actually thinks and believes. So she holds back, waiting until she has it all worked out, until she can say it clearly, and waiting until she is certain it will land right at an instant. She does not want to speak before she is ready. But she never feels ready when she's not used to hearing the sound of her own voice, and so she does not speak at all and carries the weight of everything left unsaid. The second is performance. She knows she needs to show up consistently. The algorithm demands it. People are expecting to hear from her on a schedule. So she speaks before her truth is ready to emerge, filling the space and the gaps with borrowed content that gets the likes but does not fully resonate with her frequency. It feels off. She's visible, vocal, but not real. Both the silence and the performance are responses to scarcity. The belief somewhere underneath it all that her chance to use her voice is a one and done thing. That she needs to get it right each time she speaks, because she may not get another chance. This is like planning a rare night away without the kids, when you do not have the luxury of consistent, affordable childcare. You don't want to spend it locally because it ought to be somewhere you cannot go with them. You don't want to travel too far either, because you'll spend more of your precious time traveling than in leisure. The activities, the food, accommodation, everything has to be perfect, because God knows when you'll be able to do this again. And that scarcity is the very thing preventing you from saying, actually, I think we're going to have more fun going into town, watch a show, eat somewhere we love, or ordering room service and doing nothing at all. Scarcity puts what you want on a pedestal so high, you are afraid it might fall and shatter into pieces you can't put back together again. Abundance rests your needs, wants, desires on a vast, solid ground. Abundance knows there will be another opportunity to do it again. Abundance allows every attempt to be what it is because it is not treating it as though it might be the last. The gift that Uranus in Gemini brings, amidst all the noise, is not one perfect moment to say what needs to be said. It is 7 years of opportunities to learn how to hear your voice and tune into its frequency by using it. Get to know how your words sound when they come out your mouth, how it feels when you write them with your own hand. What is the quiet truth waiting to be said out loud? When the noise is loud and the voices are many, and you have spent so long repeating the stories you were given, how do you speak your truth? Embody the qualities of the signs that came before Gemini. Bring the bold initiation energy of Aries, the courage to try and fail and try again, like an infant learning how to walk. An infant does not wait until she is certain she can stand before she attempts it. She tries, fails, and tries again. And soon enough, she's taking her first steps, and then she starts to run. Speak the truth that wants to come out, even in its most raw and unpolished form. Those who can discern value will recognize the diamond in the rough. Then, bring the embodied intelligence of Taurus. Taurus rules the ears, the throat, the vocal cords. The more you speak, the more you can feel the difference between what is truly yours and what has been given to you. Tune into the sensation in the body before entering the mind, and listen out for the frequency of your own knowing. Make it a daily practice to listen to yourself before you enter the noise of projection and expectation, so that when you are in the room, you can tell which voice belongs to you. Uranus in Gemini is not asking for your voice to be perfectly polished. It is asking for your voice to be heard, in your words, through your lens, shaped by what you know from having lived it in the first place. Because when you speak your truth, you are not just finding your own voice. You are adding to the collective frequency of truth in humanity and taking up space in a room that you are helping to build. The room you are building does not need to be complete before you speak in it. Speak your truth as you enter, and that is how you arrive. Comment crown if you're ready to hear your truth more clearly than the noise.